go first?
New England and Seattle. With the Seattle Seahawks repeating as Super Bowl champions. Repeat!
So you got New England beating Denver.
Repeat.
And you got the Seahawks repeating.
Repeat.
All right.
Repeat.
This
Football!
Welcome to the Balls Not Court Podcast. Cortez Podcast here, alongside Kevin Carter.
Hello.
At the beginning of the show, that was Kevin Carter cueing his Nostradamus prediction for the Super Bowl. But as he said off the air, he was
I was a yard away
from
being right.
Kevin, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, he said on the show a few times that he was 3 years in a row where he predicted the Super Bowl and the outcome of it to be right. But give Kevin credit because this is third year in a row getting the two right that got there. But I mean, as we say, as you didn't know, the New England Patriots are your Super Bowl champions, scores 28-24, and Kevin was the one who predicted this way back in September? Yes, September.
Yeah, it was August or September.
When we
did
the initial podcast, and Kevin nailed it. It just he was like you said, a yard away from picking the victor. And sitting there listening to that podcast so long ago, and listening to all the predictions, everything like that, I wasn't even close on mine. I did have one team going in, which was Seattle, but I had them losing, which they did lose, but New England was the one who actually got the victory. So congratulations to the New England Patriots. We'll go ahead and just dissect this game. Me and Kevin was very immersed in the game on Sunday, watching it, and there are so many storylines that we can go here.
Some of us were more immersed in halftime than the football game.
Shout out to Katy Perry, who did a wonderful job, and Missy Elliott and everything like that. But let's talk football because we're going to get into that because I can talk about Katy Perry all day, and I think y'all rather hear talk about football.
Right now, he's got the eye of the tiger.
Yes, champion. I do. She was definitely my firework that night.
You're gonna hear him roar.
All right, let's just rewind back to the last few plays of the game. We'll just start there because that's what everybody's talking about. And we see the play. It was 1 yard in the rushing line where they had Marshawn Lynch got already down there who. Yeah, ran before.
They had the retarded pass that got them down to the 5.
Right.
And then Marshawn ran, I think, 3.5, 4 yards and got them down to the 1. And then they were running the clock. And you're sitting there going, okay, they're running the clock, so that just means they're going to run the ball again. Right. And instead of calling timeout, and Bill Belichick just let it run, which I'm kind of questioning. I'm like, why are you not calling the timeout? But on their side, I was understanding why you weren't going to call a timeout. Because you running the clock down, you scored a touchdown, you're up 3, you want to give them the least amount of time as possible. So I'm like, run the ball, then run it again, and if you don't get it in, you can call your timeout. But they just kept letting it run, and then they did that retarded, stupid...
Well, before we go into that play, didn't they call timeout because I know they want to see how...
They had to call the timeout off the catch.
Because
it was all crazy and nobody... Well, they didn't want to see if it was a catch. They knew it was a catch.
Right.
It took them forever to get down the field, and everybody lined up. Before
that, because New England called timeout to see how Seattle was setting up, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I remember, because I know they clapped...
Seattle called the timeout.
Seattle called the timeout.
Yeah, Seattle called the timeout when they were going down the field because they didn't know... wasn't able to get down the field in a hurry. Mm-hmm. And then they had to waste the timeout after the catch.
So let's talk about Pete Carroll, that last call on that.
just bad. And players are calling you out saying, why didn't you just run the ball? And this is on your own team.
Yeah.
Why did we not run the ball? It's beyond me. I understand the rationalization of what you're saying, but the part that got me is as soon as you said we thought of it as a wasted play. Waste the play with a running play. Don't waste it with a pass that is just, that's a bad predicament to throw a slant pattern in the end zone in the middle of the field right there from the 1 yard line. It's a bad play no matter what. If a guy runs a slant, tell him to get all the way in the end zone and run the slant. He wasn't even all the way in the end zone when he ran the slide. He was going to be tackled short. Mind you, bad throw, little high, shouldn't have been as high, but that play shouldn't even matter. You should have been, you turned around, hand the ball off, or you play action and went all the way to the other side where there was no one at and ran the ball into the end zone. Yeah. How many times in that game did Russell Wilson freeze a dude? Yeah. Like flat out freeze him on the little bootleg. Just looked at him, went, and froze him. But you had that exact same play opened up right there at the goal line, and you've ran it 1,000 times before, but you run that. And it's confusing. I understand why he was trying to make sense of it, but it doesn't make sense.
I'm watching that play, and I'm totally with you on this. Is that they get down there, they have Marshawn Lynch got to run prior to where they're at right now on the 1 yard line. So you think they had a little bit more momentum to go ahead and run the ball in. And so when I saw the snap, I was like, they called it and they reset up and everything like that. I see it, the play run, and I was like, oh, he's going back for a pass. And then he threw, like you said, in the middle. Like, you think when you throw the ball, you want either your receiver to be able to catch it or you want to be able to make sure you throw out a bounce.
Well, yeah, in the end zone, you always see the ball go to the outside. You rarely see the ball go across the middle unless dude is wide open.
It's very
And that's after they look off the people on the outside.
Yeah,
Tom Brady got bit on it earlier in the game.
Yeah.
He tried to throw it in the middle of the field, got picked off. It's just one of those things to where, especially on the 1 yard line, at the end of a game, you don't want to put yourself in a wrong position where something bad can happen. You want it simplified. You overthought yourself trying to do that down there on the goal line. Make everything simple. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. But you didn't. You wanted to try to, I don't know what your rationale was. I know you wanted to waste the play running the ball.
You talking about a guy, Marshawn Lynch, who had 102 yards in this game on 24 rushes. So he seemed to be in the little group where you can give him the ball and at least live or die with Marshawn Lynch.
Well, I didn't care who ran the ball. Don't throw it. Russell Wilson is more than capable of running the ball into the end zone just as much as Marshawn Lynch is.
Yeah.
In fact, Russell, from that point, has ran the ball in more times than Marshawn Lynch has. Let him run it. Bootleg him. Do that play that everybody runs, where you fake the handoff, the tight end goes to the end zone like you're going to throw and bootleg him the other way and run him right into the end zone. Just don't put the ball, keep the ball in your playmaker's hands. Don't try to put it into somebody else. And that's where they fouled up with not keeping the ball in their two best players' hands.
Well, this is the number one rushing attack. And then you also, like you said, you got Russell Wilson, who's able to run the ball on the threat himself on the option.
He was averaging over 10 yards a carry.
I mean, it seemed like everybody was in their right minds who was watching the Super Bowl were thinking, like, okay, Seattle's going to play their extreme here. Run the ball.
Yeah.
Why pass? I mean,
and then they were like, they put their goal line defense in. No, they didn't. They had DBs in the game to cover every single one of your receivers out there. They did not have their big lineup in the game. There was DBs everywhere. How do you think they picked it off? They had DBs everywhere. In the goal line thing, they're all fat people. All big people. Linebackers, DB, they don't have four corners on the field like they did right then. So that, his explanation, to me, the play was ran poorly, shouldn't have been called. But to me, the bad thing was Pete Carroll saying they wanted to waste the play and everything like that. And the worst thing that could have happened was it was incompletion and stopped the clock. You done ran it down how much? You didn't need to. Hopefully it didn't stop the clock. Just run the ball.
I'm just looking at the rationale of what's the positive thing of actually throwing the ball in the middle in the end zone. You can't really find any type of reason to throw it right in the middle when you are in the end zone. And even with that, okay, you had the coming out party for Matthews. The guy who
and you threw the ball to your shorter guy.
Yeah.
Who got jammed coming off the line.
Right. So I mean, if you was to throw the ball, I would at least attempt to throw it to him, or maybe your tight. If you was to throw the ball, but yeah, you threw it.
If you were going to throw the ball, have your 3 guys over here and the one guy standing by himself. Throw it to the one guy standing by himself, because there's a cluster going to be over here, and there's one guy going to be one-on-one over there. The chances of something bad happening in the one-on-one is not that great. The chances of something bad happening in this big, gigantic cluster over here is they go up. And you threw it to where all the people were standing. Everybody was over on one side, and you had one guy over there but the other. Yeah. Throw it to the guy that's got one person covering. And I think the guy that had one person covering was Matthews.
Yeah. So that's
It was a poor play call. It's just a poor play call and a poor excuse after the play call happened.
Now let's stay on this as well, because Marshawn Lynch, I mentioned the game he had, solid game as well. Now I talked to you about this I mean, this is the type of play. He's definitely one of the top running backs in the league, if not probably top 3, wherever you want it, how you want to miss and match it. You don't think this guy, because there's been rumors going on. I know the max contract extension, everything like that. You don't see this guy at least kind of hedging about leaving Seattle at all, even after this play?
Nah, yeah, I don't see him leaving. $10 million makes you stay a lot of places, and I don't see him leaving at all. I think they pony it up. They know that he's the guy that makes them go. Yeah. I know that they got the golden boy in Russell Wilson, but he's the guy that makes them go. And you gotta keep the guy. You gotta keep your horses in order to be able to run. You gotta keep your horses.
I'm leaning towards he's half foot out the door, because
if he retired, it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise you.
But if he went to another team, I'd be greatly surprised. During the mid-season, I wouldn't have been surprised if he went to another team. But as the season wore on, and they kind of lightened up into him, then I can see him staying.
Right.
Yeah, but if you asked me earlier in the season, I thought he would be gone. I thought he'd be on the market.
Well, he was upset about the whole Percy Harvin thing.
Yeah, he was PO'd.
He was good friends with Percy.
Yeah, he was PO'd about the Percy Harvin thing. But I think it got a little exaggerated at a certain point. Like, he wasn't going to get on the bus. He wasn't going to do all this and that. I think it got a little overkill, so to speak, by some of the media with some of the stuff they were saying. But during the middle of the year, I thought, yeah, he's going to be gone. But now I'm not so much. Unless they're just fed up with his stuff, then he may be gone. But as far as him wise, I don't think he'd be like, get me out of here.
I tell you what, well, Seattle, you better pony up the money for this guy to stay. If he makes
you got 2 guys you got to pony up the money for right now.
Him and Wilson.
Yep.
You're right.
You got 2 guys. And you're going to lose. You're probably going to lose Maxwell at corner. And another big thing in that game that went down was when Simon went down. Yeah. Simon went down, or when Simon came into the ball game. They picked on him more than anything.
Yeah, because Lane went out with the broken arm. So Simon came in. And
Lane and Cliff Averill going down with a concussion. Mm-hmm. Those were 2 big keys in that thing. And you see when both guys went out, they really picked on the other guy coming into the game.
All right. Now, we're still on this last drive. I want to talk about this. How much credit do you give to Malcolm Butler, the rookie, jumping the route for the interception?
You mean the hockey check he put on the dude and then catching the ball? Hey, they said he'd been practicing it all week. He broke on it well, but I think he got there a little early. But they're not going to call that at the end of the Super Bowl. They'll only call – if we had the referees from the Notre Dame FSU game, it would have got called. But, yeah, this one didn't get called. But don't get me wrong, it was a great play. It was a great play. Not enough people were talking about that he made a great play upon the ball, and everybody's talking about that it was a stupid decision to throw the ball in the first place. Mm-hmm. But he made a good play. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, because the odds of making an interception like that.
It was a good break on the ball. Russell threw it a little high, and he should have threw it belly high instead of right at your chest high. Right. He threw it a little too high, and he just came up and got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Malcolm a lot of credit on that. Butler did a good job reading it, and he jumped the route, and that I just feel like
what was the key part was right next to him, Brandon Browder checking